That was fast. Today marks two major movements in the political landscape over the last year. 1 year ago today, former President Joe Biden announced he was suspending his re-election bid and effectively turning the page on his political career. Today also marks 6 months under President Trump's second term in office. So we want to bring in CBS News White House and Politics Executive Director Fin Gomez. He joins us now from Washington. That's where you should be, as that title goes with you, Fin Gomez. Nice to have you, my friend. So let's take a look back at the moment former President Biden dropped out of the race. How unprecedented was it for this move? And talk to us about the shockwaves through the Democrat Party ever since.
I think shockwaves is a very accurate depiction of what the scenario was like. I remember right before he dropped out, there was, of course, the CNN debate, where I was, where he had this really bad performance, of course, that caused this whole series of events, that led to him dropping out 1 year ago today. But I remember being in that room and realizing, because of that poor performance, things are going to change dramatically, and they did. And then on July 21st, 2024, that major seismic event shook U.S. politics, and that was when Joe Biden abruptly withdrew from the 2024 race. And then you're talking about the historical context, Reed. We have to go all the way back to Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968 as the last incumbent president who ended his re-election bid before Election Day. And of course, it was citing concerns over power party unity and his ability to lead. And he suspended his campaign and endorsed Vice President Harris as his successor. And she, of course, went on to mount and take over the reins and lose, of course, to Donald Trump last November in that convincing defeat. And ever since then, Reed, the Democrats and the Democratic Party have sort of had this internal debate about what is the best path forward to lead them out of the political wilderness. And you've seen this battle between this debate between progressives and centrists saying which way is best for us to win and in the age of Trump. And there's and I think there's some big really events that are coming up that should sort of prove which side will work, sort of which strategy will work better. And that's, of course, the two gubernatorial races that are coming up this year in New Jersey and Virginia. And of course, they have, most Democrats that I've spoken to have a bullish perspective as to the midterms that are coming up next year.
Yeah, the midterms and those two races definitely will take the temperature and let us know whether what came out of that devastating loss for Democrats really informed a new pathway forward and whether the choices that are made will actually work. Now, let's talk about the other side of the coin, and that is current President Trump. He's been in office 6 months now. How much has his agenda been able to be implemented, and what's left to deliver? He always says, I'm the deal maker, I'm the promise keeper. But when we look at the scoreboard on deals where tariffs are concerned, we don't see a lot. We still see Russia's war in Ukraine. That hasn't been resolved, as he said. We see what's going on between Israel and Gaza. That hasn't been resolved. And now the Epstein controversy. Where are we in the Trump presidency? And how do you feel like they are feeling right now as far as having their footing?
I mean, actually, I like your description, Reed. I can just leave because that's perfectly said, what you just said. But no, I mean, look, he has delivered. He's aggressively delivered on some of his core campaign promises, like you mentioned, tax cuts to regulation, immigration, his hardline policies on immigration, and, of course, the ICE raids and operations that we discussed and long reported on. But on some of those big ticket pledges, he's lagged. Like as you mentioned, he's had the big policy wins with the one big beautiful bill, which was enacted back in July 4th, the historic tax cuts, and some other areas that really, the amplification of and spending for the ICE operations, for his crackdown on immigration. But on, like you mentioned, on Ukraine, he campaigned to end it on day one. That hasn't happened yet. And other areas like Gaza has been, it's been a foreign policy headache for him. But on other areas, he has really kind of lived up to the moment, and what he's run on, he's implemented, including immigration. And he's also had this very extensive focus on making the executive office of the president more powerful. And, you've seen his historic amount of his executive orders and actions that he's taken. But there is some proof that we've seen that some of his policies, especially on immigration, have hurt his approvals. There's that CBS News poll that just came back out in the last few days that shows that, after making historic gains with Latino voters, for example, Reed, he got about 48% according to Pew. In our latest polls, it showed that there's been a significant precipitous drop in support from this key electorate, which could bode well for Democrats in those 2 gubernatorial races and, of course, in the midterms. Reed?
My favorite kind of political coverage, Fin Gomez, is really a combination of top-down political coverage, talking about all of these policies, but then also, and this is really key in your leadership, your dispatch of reporters out in communities, talking to voters day in and day out. No doubt they'll all be hitting the ground running as we continue to look towards, yes, indeed, towards the midterms. Fin Gomez, always good to talk to you. Thanks, my friend.
Great to talk to you, Reed.